Hey, check up. Let's play some D. Welcome to episode 23 of Play Some D. As always, you are here with your favorite and most lovable host, Coach D. No, it's me, D. As always, Coach D. Like I said, it's episode 23. And I feel like I got some good stuff. It's all sports related, which for any new viewers, this is a weekly podcast. I'm talking about a variety of different things, variety of the spice of life. That is the theme behind the podcast, the episodes. It's not really a podcast. It's more like just a weekly show episode, whatever it can be called. I mean, it's all like synonymous now, I feel like. But this week is all sports related, which when I originally started this 20 some odd 23 episodes ago, it's 20 some odd, just say 23 episodes ago, I figured it would all be sports, music, movies, entertainment stuff, and it's just went through politics and current events and random topics, and yeah, it's just been all over the place, which is actually how I like it. Actually, how I really enjoy it that way. But this week is all sports related. We got Olympic topics, we got basketball topics, and then we're gonna speak on Aaron Rodgers, as I promised we would once he figured out what he was gonna do. There's a number of different things that I could have and should have talked about, and we should be on episode 25 right now, but let's just not worry about that too much. And I should have, you know, yeah. But this is 23, and I'm just going to talk about the stuff, the sports related stuff, this go round. As always, if you like, if you love, hit that like button, like, hit that like button, or you can hit the subscribe button, or you can hit the notification button. All those buttons are good, cool buttons to press to come back and enjoy play some D with your favorite. But I am amped up, as I mentioned. Haven't done it in a couple weeks, so let's get straight into this baby. Quarter number one, I'm gonna tip this baby off with some Olympics news. That's really hard to see, I'm sure, but it's women's Olympic uniforms, and I thought it was a big, maybe not totally big, but I just thought it was something that I wanted to talk about, that I was interested in, that I've just kind of noticed universally, and it kind of went back to I remember the lingerie football league, which was really really cool, but I thought uh, it was just so strange that that's what it was based on. I mean, it's football. I mean, the sport is football, but the lingerie's mixed in. But after a while, and if you ever watched it, like some of those girls are actually good, and playing in lingerie is just kind of just I don't know. I feel like it was just a mockery to them and to the sport. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Maybe have a lingerie match or something like that. But after it caught on, I thought it would have been better. Dress the women up properly and let them play football. And that's kind of how I feel about this debate in the Olympics with they call it revealing outfits and things of that nature. And yes, they are very much so revealing and totally unnecessary in my opinion. But more so than anything, I just feel like it's uncomfortable. I was even watching the men swimming, and it was just like there's got to be a better trunk situation, a better underwear situation for the men to dive in. Cause I mean I'm a man and I just know that's just not comfortable to run and jump in a tight like it's around your junk, and for women same concept, that's around all their private parts, and then some of the bikinis are super low hanging or low rising, whatever you call them. It's just kind of silly. We're here to play sports. For the men, they're there to dive. And I guess outside of being naked, you want to be comfortable. It doesn't matter what you wear. The goal is to compete. And dressing up or requiring women to wear bikinis and things of that nature when they don't want to or necessarily need to, or if men want to, they should be able to, whatever the case may be, I don't think it really matters. I think the most important thing is being comfortable, and that's really what I wanted to talk about in this concept. Is that sure, it's dope and sex sells. We all know that. So for the weird, I won't even call them weirdos. Just people that want to see women revealed. I guess revealing is, and women want to be revealed, or they do feel comfortable in that outfit. Rightfully so. Let them wear that. But for the women that want to wear shorts, comfortable, fitting wear, they should totally be able to. The parameters of an outfit can definitely be expanded, and then like some of the what was it, the Norwegian beach handball team. I think they got fined for they took a fine for wearing shorts rather than bikini bottoms, which is just stupid. Um, and it's just a number of different things that just like I said, it's just not necessary. And the outfit, as long as it's within the colors, you should have a couple different options to wear when you're playing a sport. And like I said, that should go for men and women, and protective wear as well. So you should have, the option to be able to protect yourself in situations, rugby and whatever. The uniform just should be expanded nowadays that we have technology and all that stuff. There are many of places where you can go on the internet to see women or men in whatever you want to see them in. It doesn't have to be your favorite athlete. And even for your favorite athletes, you can probably find them on their Instagram wearing something revealing. You don't have to watch them playing in it. That is really what I wanted to speak on here with that. It's Yeah, I just think it's highly unnecessary that anybody should be fined or looked at weirdly, or just not being able to see the variety on in sports. Like I said, there's still gonna be women that probably love wearing that and want to wear that and feel good. It makes them feel good and confident, whatever. But then for the others that don't, shouldn't have to. I said, as long as you're within the colors and the constraints of said uniform, I don't even see why you couldn't wear pants or spandex or whatever, like full length. You know, basketball players, they wear sleeves, and football players do too. And you do stuff to cover your legs and keep compression. I don't see why that shouldn't and can't be a thing. It absolutely should be, and hopefully at the next Olympics there will be a um, less constraints on uniforms. So that's first quarter, and it kind of stand on par with first quarter. Second quarter is just the Tokyo Olympics itself. I watched a lot of the Olympics actually. Um, Skateboarding, as I mentioned, diving. I watched some fencing. I watched wrestling. I watched boxing. I watched basketball. I actually originally, which was should have been last week's episode. I wanted to talk about the track and field, which was just incredible. I thought all the track. I watched more track and field than everything, but that's probably the most content I think you probably do get is track and field. So that I think that's the most participants. I might be wrong about that, but I feel like track and field was entertaining. And I was going to particularly talk about the 400-meter hurdles, which was totally incredible. Just a incredible race. The men's and the women's ones I thought was better. I watched the highlights of the men, didn't see the men's ones, but records were broken. It all cool, but the women's one was just such hyped up, and it was worth the wait, shall I say. Then they dominated the relay, which was obvious. We knew that was going to happen. And um, I always find one thing that I'm not good at that I've always enjoyed in the realm of sports. I can pretty much play and do anything except skateboard. I was never ever good at skateboarding, but I really enjoy watching skateboarding. And some of those young cats, they be getting after it. Skate was what was it? I think it was called Street was introduced this year. That was cool to watch. They were kind of nervous, and you could tell they it was just different, probably a different environment, just what they used to, just being out there, just letting it fly with their friends, and then being on TV. It looks like they were a little bit uncomfortable, the boys, the women and the men. So it was still fun to watch. And then the rest of the stuff, I watched some. I think it's motocross, or I'm not exactly what that's called exactly when they race on the. No, it wasn't motocross. I watched it was bikes. They're actually pedaling. That was fun. It was just a lot of good stuff. So the main thing here was that I wanted to mention that um, people were just, I guess, not. I hear a lot of talk about people not being interested in the Tokyo Olympics, and I think that may have just been to do. I think that may had been due to, I think, lack of fans being able to get to the games. I think that brings more to it. It brings more anticipation. And when you watch some of those events without fans in the stands, where you knew it would be a lot of fans in there, it kind of does bring down the, I don't know, the value, I think, of the product. Even when we were watching the NBA in the bubble, and even the NFL last year with no fans, it just seemed weird. It just seemed different. It was a different energy, just wasn't quite there. And I feel like it was the same way with the Olympics. Now, I don't think that necessarily dictates TV ratings that people wants to watch or not, but more eyeballs on it. Obviously, if people were there, more eyeballs are going to be on it, and then just that creates more chatter, and chatter creates more advertising, marketing. People are like, oh, I'm gonna be, whatever, whatever, and then that stuff carries over. Word of mouth is still one of the biggest way to get things out, and it's through the internet. And if people weren't in Tokyo, it's a little bit different. So I think that helps. Would have made a drastic difference? I don't know. I'm not a analytical guy on that aspect, but I do think it would have helped. The ratings, I didn't look at the ratings, but let me see if I can find them really quick. Olympics 2021 ratings disaster. The first Tokyo ratings plummeted. Um, so 88 Seoul. I mean, I got 2012 London was 217 million. Rio was 198. Beijing was 1215, and Tokyo was 150. Sydney 2000 was 185. 150 is still so many. Um, yeah, Summer Olympics average audience. London was 31 million. Rio was 25 million, and then Tokyo is 15 million. So yeah, it's a half drop. I mean, it is a lot. It is a big drop off, but it was still um it's still big. I mean, it says 2021 broadcast season, the Tokyo Olympics on NBC 15.1 million, Sunday Night Football is 16.7, Equalizer 12.7, Monday Night Football ESPN 11.3. So 15, it's NBC still brought in good numbers on the event. So I don't know. I don't think it was that big of a deal as people made it out to be. And also everybody watches a lot of things on replay, a lot of YouTube videos. Actually went back and watched YouTube videos myself on different events, stuff that I missed, like the 400-meter hurdles, the semifinals. I was asleep during it, I believe. Then when it was raining, which was dope too, and rewatched that on YouTube. So a lot of people probably, and those had a lot of views as well, a good amount of views too. So I think people were watching, I think people were aware, and then also we're also big on like just who won type of thing, who competed. So you can just go in there and just type it in, look at the numbers, and just say, okay, so and so won, and just keep it moving. And then it's summertime, but Olympics are, yeah. But that's that. I thought the Tokyo Olympics were excellent. Like I said, I watched more of this Olympics than any other Olympics ever. And it could have just been partially due to being at home and it being available. But there's other stuff I normally watch during the day, and I was just thoroughly intrigued with the competition this year and some of the stuff I saw. Like I would turn it on and then expect to like flip the channel, but it was entertaining. And I watched stuff that I wouldn't watch. I was watching archery. That I thought I was just gonna look at it for a second, then I ended up watching just watching it. So for me, I thought it was solid. So the next one is Paris, and then Los Angeles. I'll be watching both. And the halftime show goes, and the crowd goes wild. Right in the third quarter, right over into NBA free agency. So there's a number of things that happen in free agency, and I guess the one thing, I guess the most memed thing is the Dennis Schroeder thing. I guess I'll talk on that first. Boston getting him for what they got him for was excellent for Boston. So they, replaced Kimba with a solid back. I mean, I think they're probably interchangeable. And Kimba could shoot a little bit better, but then it's a little more athletic. He D up. So yeah, he did mess up his money a little bit, but I just don't know who would have paid him what he wanted. He's just not worth that. And had the Lakers, had he bet on himself, Lakers made it to the finals or won a championship, yes, he gets his money. But that's such a slim chance, especially, knowing the AD situation, knowing the AD, just you gotta be aware of your teammates, knowing the AD situation. And I think when he rejected that deal, LeBron was hurt or just got hurt. So I don't know, but he could have retalked it if he wanted that money. But LA wasn't the fit for him. Him and LeBron, I just never thought worked and should play together. So Boston got him for good. So maybe that's the most meme deal there. Another big signing I think was the Patty Mills to Brooklyn. When that deal happened, I think that was right after Patty Mills gave Team USA like a 40 ball or something like that. So he was balling. So that was a big pickup, because if Kyrie gets hurt or Harden gets hurt, which is highly likely, he steps right in. Lonzo to Chicago was interesting, but now that makes Chicago. I think that makes Chicago tough, because Chicago has DeRozan. So Chicago got her. So they got their three guys. I mean, they're not the greatest three, but given some injuries, a little bit of shakeup, and you got Levine, DeRozan, and Vucevic. If they're not injury prone guys. So if they're healthy and they run up into some injury prone teams in the East, they can squeak their way around some teams. And I have Phoenix way up. I said Phoenix would be a top 4 team. Last year they ended up second. I think the Bulls will be a top 4 team next year if everybody stays healthy. I think they'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 in a fourth quarter or overtime. I'll talk about Ben Simmons, but the Ben Simmons situation in Philly, it'll be Nets, Milwaukee. Yeah, I don't know. Philly, Bulls will be 4 or 5. I think they'll be 4 though, and they may just be one of those regular season teams, and they may run off wins. I think they have a really good chance to run off wins with this roster. And Lonzo, I don't think makes him a 4-guy team, but he is a good point guard for these 3 guys. So if he can disperse the rock to these guys properly, they'll be really, really good. And they'll at every every time in a game they can have two guys on the court, which I don't like I said, I don't consider Lonzo a guy, but he can make plays, he can make shots. So in a spurt, Lonzo's good. Obviously, you're not relying on him to win you a game. Maybe one or two games he'll have a big game, but there'll be spots in the second and third quarter, down spots where he can get you a layup, he can get you a quick fast break, a steal, something like that, keep you in the game, keep the momentum going. The Kemba Walker to the Knicks, I think is not all that. Jeff Green going to leaving Brooklyn, I think is kind of big for Brooklyn, and then the Lakers get none. Obviously, I was gonna mention before I mentioned the most meme thing. Obviously, the Russell Westbrook trade was probably the most talked about and raved about thing that probably happened. But honestly, I just don't know how it works regular season wise. It's fancy and it looks good for regular season. It allows LeBron to get off the ball. But in a 7 game series, I just think um, if LeBron and AD are healthy, Russ spotting up in the corner or Russ with the ball and LeBron spotting up in the corner is probably not how that offense will be able to work efficiently. I think their best bet, if those two are on the court, is literally the ball rolling through AD and either Russ and or LeBron kind of slashing off of each other in some manner, backdoor cuts and things of that nature, just to keep the double from coming to AD, and those two slashing to the basket, attacking the basket off ball. He'll get AD a lot more shots than the other two guys on the court will obviously be shooters, probably Carmelo and somebody else, and that'll be difficult for teams to defend. But the Lakers have to find some creative way. Just the dribble with LeBron and or Russ. It'll work in a regular season, but in 7 games they're gonna have to Vogel is gonna have to. He needs to be thinking about playoff offense now. If that team shows up healthy. Now, if it's just Russ and AD or Russ and Bron or Bron and AD, then he can work that out. So like maybe somebody gets hurt, whatever. Hopefully not, but then he can figure that out. So now I'll just run through some other things. Carmelo going to the Lakers, I thought was excellent for the Lakers. They're a couple years removed. They should have signed him before. He should have went to the Lakers before Portland got him, but I don't know what that happened. Jerry Allen to the Cavs was smart for the Cavs, depending on how they use Evan Mobley. Let's see, going through some Barton 2 years back to the Nuggets, Batum back to the Clippers. That was good. Kent Bazemore going to the Lakers was pretty decent. Jalika went to the Warriors. Brooklyn being able to keep Bruce Brown is iffy. Probably not even needed to be talked about. Alec Burks staying with the Knicks was big. Jimmy Butler staying with Miami was kind of Alex Caruso to Chicago. That he fits, and I think Alex Caruso's overrated. But if he does step his game up, he's gonna help them a whole lot. John Collins got some decent money to stay with Atlanta. That's iffy to me. I wouldn't have paid him. They have guys, and I just don't think he's a guy you pay that type of money to. Mike Conley to stay with the Jazz. Zach Collins was he stayed in San Antonio. That's just Zach Collins is never healthy. Steph signed that big old deal, which makes a whole lot of sense. As I mentioned, DeRozan. Dinwiddie to the Wizards. Dinwiddie and Beal can be that could be really, really good. That could be really, really good. Drummond to the Sixers. That's just Joel Embiid insurance, which is kind of smart. Bryn Forbes to San Antonio. I think that kid could be good. Shai signed a big extension with the Thunder, which was smart. Devontae Graham to the Pelicans. Him and Zion, I think, can complement each other actually really well because he's a good shooting guard that Zion will need. What else is interesting here? Blake Griffin stays with the Nets. Tim Hardaway Jr. stays with them. Uh, it's good. Lakers didn't go up Taylor Horton Tucker. Let's see anything else. Kawhi, we got the Kawhi deal done. Kelly Oubre went to the Hornets, which is weird. Chris Paul getting 4 years from Phoenix is just kind of head scratching to me. 4 years, 120. That's Cameron Payne only got 3 years, 19. That was weird too because Cameron Payne's good and Caruso got all that money. Cameron Payne does. Maybe Cameron Payne just wanted to come back and run it back with the band again. Remember, it's a 3 year deal, so yeah, I don't know. Norman Powell got a huge deal from Portland. 5 years, 90 million. Duncan Robinson, same thing. That's a lot for a guy that can only shoot. Well, I like Duncan a lot, but I'm not giving him that much money until he, showed that much money skill. He doesn't show that much money skill. Same thing with Gary Trent. 3 years, 54. I think that rounds about to the same as that for the 5 year, 90. Maybe a couple million off, but same thing. He just doesn't warrant that type of cash. Trae Young got his extension. So NBA free agency was wild and fancy and a lot of movement, a lot of signings went on. And yeah, it will be interesting to see. I could kind of edge in NBA draft stuff here too, which I wanted to do that as well episodes ago. That, yeah, no comment. But we'll see how Summer League goes. We'll see. Looks like some of those top picks are going to be solid and see how they cross over with their teams, and then that'll shape how camp looks. And I think the season starts in October, so they literally got about 60 days to get ready. I think October 19th is when the season start, and I think the first for me, I'm gonna need to see the first week of the new teams, and maybe some preseason, like the first week of the season, just see how they kind of run around with each other, and then I'll be able to make some predictions. I'll make some predictions before the season, but then I'll really have some off the record predictions in my head once I see those guys get out there and play. And I think it should be a fun season, and all healthy is probably Nets, and I don't know. I mean, it's really it's either, all healthy is Nets versus Warriors or Lakers essentially. I mean, Anthony Davis stays healthy. It's just hard. It's just hard for anybody to beat them. There's just nobody in the league that really can guard that man. Maybe Joel, but if AD's working, he should be MVP next year, and the league should be in trouble. But we'll see. And then didn't really even want to go here with this, but it's sort of kind of frustrating because I just don't get it. Just show up then. Like, just say what you want. Say, switch my contract around and I'll be there. And then I don't want to be, like, don't talk in circles. Like, I felt like Aaron Rodgers just straight talked in circles and then was like, oh, here I am. I'm ready to play now. Like, it kind of seemed like just some soft, silly, crybaby stuff. That's how I feel about it. Like, man up. You don't want to be there anymore. I get it. You got a great receiver. You got a really good running back and a decent team. You guys were right there and just maybe made a bad call. You probably don't get that. That Bucs defense was ready. You probably don't get the fourth down touchdown and then the 2-point conversion anyway. You still lose. Whatever. Yes, you kick a field goal once a key, whatever. I get all that. You're right there. So you either run it back and say you either say I'll run it back if you put these pieces in here and you give me some constraints or I'm out. It's not a it's not a in between. Me, the man's 30 something, 37 years old. You don't have that much time. Like he's still really good. So if you want out, you get out now where you have opportunities to play somewhere that you can succeed at and probably win a Super Bowl at. Now you bring it back after whining and not talking to people and making little snide comments, wearing little silly T-shirts, and you come back like, oh hey guys, I'm back. I'm ready to throw the ball to you guys now. But first, can you bring my friends back and the guys that like? It's not how you go about doing it. You do it like a man. If you got some words you need to say to somebody, you say it to them people. You don't talk to them through somebody else this, that, and the third. If you want to get traded, get traded. You have that ability. Like you've done enough for Green Bay to be able to say, I'm out. And then I mean I get it. Money's an issue and money's a thing. You'll get fined and all that good nature. I don't know the ins and outs of that. But Aaron's way past wealthy and he could have totally set out this season because it gets really risky if something weird happens and I don't care what anybody say. He wasn't there with his teammates, so they feel some kind of way about that. They may not say it out loud because they may ruffle his soft, fragile feathers, but people feel some kind of way about him not being there. So, him coming back, walking around with that cockiness and all that stuff, man, I don't know. I just don't know. He should have he went too far. I feel like he stepped over a line that he couldn't come back from, and he came back from it, and now he just like and then we restructured a contract where there's no 2022 season. But I think Jay Glazer, somebody reported that after the season, if he wants to get traded, they trade him. But that's the handshake agreement or verbal agreement or whatever. Green Bay will come back next year and say, we'll call your bluff again, you chump, and you're going to stay here. And if not, Jordan Love's going to play, and you're just going to sit out. So it's just like it was just goofy and silly. And like I said, I really didn't want to talk about it, but I just felt weird about it because I was on Aaron's side with it, and he just folded. He folded like a lawn chair. And yes, he's in a good situation in Green Bay, and he knows that, and he just went about this wrong. If you wanted to run it back, you say we run it back under my terms or trade me or I'm not playing. That's how that situation I feel like should have worked, and they should have been able to grant him that courtesy. And if they weren't, then trade me. So yeah, I just hate it like that, and I know for him as a great player too, it'll probably be just weird in some instances. But I know when you're on the field, it's just compete and win, do your best. But it's just such a ill, weird situation. It just went so snaky and goofy and soft and yeah. But as they line up, they're favorites and they should, healthy, they'll be right there at the end. And I think that was, I'm sure you had conversations with the guys you really like, and that at the end of the day probably got him back. Those I think the guys got him back. Probably mainly Devontae. Like come on, man, let's just we'll figure it out. Buy the guy some Rolexes or whatever you do, and let's just run it back and see what happens. But I don't know, man. I just think you got to show some backbone, especially in your later years after you've done so much for a franchise and you feel so let down. From the sounds of it, he feels so let down by the franchise and just overall. And I agree. Like, what did they draft a kick returner in the first round this year? Like that's just goofy. The Jordan Love draft pick was just goofy. Then they ran it back with who I think is good. The running back, I forgot his name. He's good, but they had Jamal Williams, and Aaron Jones. Why would I draft another running back? Like just goofy. Like those two picks, those are players that can help us. That maybe we aren't down against the Bucks. We win the Super Bowl because two players can make a huge difference. And those guys weren't even playing in that game. There could have been two guys that were playing in that game. So I'm not going on and on and on about this, but I kind of was let down with Aaron Rodgers' decision to just kind of fold so easily and just show back up. So yeah, and then kind of just taking it to overtime. If you didn't see at the beginning, you knew I was going into OT and almost along the same. I won't even say the same lines, but just in a similar fashion. It's just this Ben Simmons thing is just weird. Like, how do you get a 200 whatever, close to 190, whatever he got, huge contract, play terrible? Yeah, we make fun of where I'm from. We make fun of our friends. I don't know what goes too far when you make millions and millions of dollars and you've been with these guys all year and maybe they stabbed you in the back or some situation. But when you can't do something as a professional and somebody calls you out on it or talks about it or mentions it, you can't go into hiding and stop taking people's calls and I want to be traded. Bro, get in the gym every single day. No chicks, no video games, no Ferrari rides, no concerts. Only people you should be talking is FaceTiming your mom, your brothers and sisters, your immediate family, and then take you into the gym. That's all you should be doing. And you should literally be in there with 9 other cats simulating basketball. Not showing up and putting a video next to you and Rondo and shooting some threes that you know gonna go in. Play some basketball and shoot some real impactful, whatever you need to do, get in the mindset of making jump shots. This is a jump shooting league and you make maximum money. That means you should be able to do everything to virtually the maximum. So you can't whine and cry if somebody threw you under the bus. You are the reason you didn't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You are the reason that you wouldn't have then made it to the finals. And then had you made it to the finals, you guys would have been NBA champions if you just could shoot jump shots. Ben Simmons, if he could have made jump shots and free throws, Philadelphia Sixers would probably be NBA champions. Crazy, right? Crazy. I mean, it's a really good chance that they could have been NBA champions. They couldn't beat the Atlanta Hawks. And that's Ben Simmons' fault. So now you can't go and say, oh, don't call me, don't talk to me. I want to be traded. But then I don't want to be traded certain places. That's the other part of it. Like, you want to go to California, huh? You want to go to a team in California where you can't shoot there either. You want to go to Golden State. So hypothetically, to make it make sense, is that you get traded for Wiggins, picks. I suppose Wiseman gets in there, maybe a 3-teamer or something like that. You play with Draymond. You got to virtually do the same exact thing. So you got to both setting the screens, playing defense, and passing it to Clay and Steph to shoot threes. You guys not going to shoot it. Draymond's going to shoot it, maybe a little bit more now since you can't shoot it or won't shoot it. So he'll shoot more. But now the floor shrinks. Why would you even want to go play there? Doesn't make sense. Clippers, you can't even trade there. Lakers, why would you want to play with LeBron? That doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess at least Russ can shoot it. Russ will shoot it, and Russ will make some shots. So, even the Russ is an upgrade. I mean, yeah, obviously, you take Russ over Ben Simmons any day of the week, twice on Sunday. So, Sacramento. You said California team. I don't know if maybe Sacramento. Makes sense for both teams that Buddy Hield. You You got to start over. I mean, Ben Simmons is at a point now where he virtually has to start over. It's either you do it in Portland, because the Ben Simmons for Lillard swap kind of makes the most sense to me, or Sacramento. Luke Walton's horrible. He'll get out of there. There's some guys there, De'Aaron Fox, uh, Ben Simmons. They'll probably trade Marvin Bagley. He'll be out there. You get somebody else. You got a nice little three. You got a nice three guys. But regardless of the matter, wherever Ben Simmons goes, he really just needs to stay in Philly. Philly is the perfect situation. They have the perfect chance to win with that team if he can just shoot. Regardless of the matter, he's going to have to be able to pull up, shoot a left-handed shot or right hand, whatever he ambidextrously feels like he wants to do, with confidence, regardless if you make and or miss it. Shoot that baby, and then you drive to the hole and dunk on fools. And if they foul you, you go to the free throw line and you shoot your free throws like a big boy with confidence, like a professional. You either make one and miss one, or you miss two, or you make two. That's what happens. But you keep playing and you keep practicing, you keep working on your game. And you tell your teammates, sorry, I messed up. I just needed some time. I needed a little break. Now I'm back. I'm ready to hoop. Let's simulate some game basketball. And all I'm going to do for all of preseason, for the first 2 weeks, first month of the season, is all I'm doing is taking jump shots. I'm just shooting the ball. Another topic that I can go on all day about. But bottom line, this is weird. Ben Simmons should take his trade wherever he wants to, wherever they can trade him to allow the team to get some value back, because he screwed that up. And then wherever he goes or wherever he end up, he's going to have to make jump shots and understand if he can't shoot the ball, he's going to hear this every single offseason or every single week on Twitter, or every single day on Instagram, or wherever he goes. He'll see that he can't shoot, won't shoot, scared to shoot, got the yips, whatever you call it. He's going to get it. So he's got to be prepared for that one way or the other. So however he wants to handle that, that's on Ben Simmons. And that is episode 23 of Blazing League with So yeah, that's, those last two. I mean, I wanted to, I really want to talk about the Women's Olympics. I had that written down, and kind of Women's Olympics uniform, I had that written down and kind of start. So that was definitely something I really want to talk about. So that, tipped off the episode. And Tokyo Olympics, I've heard some backlash, just people not watching it, not interested, or I don't know how true that is. Like I said, I read the numbers off, and yeah, they're down, but people still watched. So I think, like I said, it would have been a little bit bigger, seemed a little bit more meaningful with fans, a little more exciting, captivating to watch. NBA free agency was pretty hot and heavy. NBA does it every summer. They keep the pressure on the major sports leagues to keep things exciting. NBA definitely keeps it exciting. Aaron Rodgers, Ben Simmons, those dudes, I don't know. I do not know about those guys. But, thanks for watching. Once again, if you don't mind, like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. It's Coach D, as always, in the building. Until the next one, Holla.